Thank you for tuning in to another episode of what is now an emergency episode of the TTE podcast. And I really wanted to um, jump on here, and I asked my brother and sister to jump on here since this is an emergency pod to really talk through today's events of January 6th. Um, I find I guess let me start by saying that I I don't know what to think. I don't know what to feel. So I'm just going to be raw and be honest and just be maybe even a little emotional about what it is that I've seen. I'll just preface it by saying in the last 6 or 7 months, I've really come to grips with identifying those things that I find to be triggers. And today was definitely a day where I was triggered, and um, so I'm just going to be raw and honest and real about it. And so I asked my brother and sister to jump on just to sort of talk through what we saw today and your perspectives, both as smart, educated, independent thinkers, but I guess more importantly, just as an American, like, and I'll just open it up to either of you who wants to start. Like, Denise, I guess I'll start with you. Like, what exactly you saw all this today? Like, what you tell me? I don't. I'm all over the map. So you tell me what you saw, what you thought, how you processed it. I mean, it's going on right now. So you tell me.
Yeah. I see the minority leader here in the House making his little speech. So the day actually started with me writing about contested elections. I'm doing an internship for professional writing and trying to freelance and whatnot. So I actually had decided to write on a brief history of contested elections, and there's 8, and I guess now there's 9. And I got to like number 4. I got to 1876 and said, okay, you know what? I need a break. That was like at 11. And then I started watching this, and I watched the entire thing. I saw when they escorted Pence out super fast. I saw it when they dug Nancy out, Chuck Grassley out, and then the rest of Congress in their separate chambers scurrying about like little ants. And I guess the way I felt about it was in a way kind of like a "I told you so" moment. And I know Dennis, you and I were talking about this last weekend about how I keep with my love of history, how I keep comparing these events to the fall of the Roman Republic, and the fact that Ben Sass just sat here on the Senate floor and referenced it. Just for me, gave me a more of a validation of the fact that I was right. I mean, I was right to interpret these signs as what they are. So overall, it was a crazy day. As I told one of my friends, I said, "Wow, this whole democracy thing, that was cool," because I guess that's not happening anymore. And but yeah, I mean, it's like you said, it's still unfolding. I think that today is going to go down as a day that's going to be studied and discussed, just like, elections 1800, 1800, 1824, 1860, 76, and 1912. So it's just, yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way. And as we're talking right now, Josh Hawley is on the Senate floor speaking. So I'm going to jump on Twitter and see what he's saying. But, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there are just so many failure points here. But I guess the biggest thing I feel right now is somewhere between anger and exhaustion and just pity. And I feel anger because it didn't have to get to this. Like I'm sorry. I know I'm speaking and I'm a little upset and emotional about it, but I just feel like at this point I have to call a spade a spade. This is given how they stormed the Capitol, given how they were allowed in, if you see some of the video where they just opened the gates and let them in, and given how they were treated until they got enough numbers to be able to push them out, I'm angry because if that had been 30 or 40,000 people of color, there would have been blood in the streets, and people would have got on TV and spun it and justified it. And instead, there were no people of color. These were just angry white people who have been lied to. And this is where the pity comes in. They've been lied to. And they've chosen to believe in the lie, so much so that they got violent in an effort to try to take back what they thought was stolen from them. And you can't steal something. I can't even form a complete thought right now. I'm just beside myself. I'm just angry. I'm frustrated. I'm pissed off. And then when I get on here and I watch people try to spin this on TV and suggest that and politicize this, like, no. These are people that I get, arrested and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Yeah, I get that. But but honestly, like, if that would have been me or if that would have been one of you, do you really think they just would have let you storm the Capitol? And I don't want to, play this little tit for tat thing in terms of if they do it, I should be able to do it too. But I think it was on display for everybody to see, and you can no longer deny that there are two sets of rules here by which America operates. But it's different when the people that look like you are at your front door ready to attack you. And I think maybe, and I'm saying this based on some of the rhetoric that's coming out of the Senate right now, with the exception of Josh Hawley, because I just don't know what he's saying right now, that honestly, I hope this is the point where people say, you know what, this has all gone too far, this is too much, and regardless of our differences, we got to put a stop to this. Because this is, I don't know what to say, other than to say that, and we can get into who's responsible in the whole nine, but this is, I don't know. I'm just pissed. I'm just upset. I'm just upset.
I would say, and this is before Brian, I'm going to let you jump in. I just wanted to iterate something real quick. Josh Hawley has been called out by the Kansas City Star. He is the junior senator from the state of Missouri, and they called him out tonight basically for doing the same thing that Ted Cruz was doing while all of this was happening, and that he too was also sending out text messages and trying to raise money for his eventual 2024 presidential campaign. And there's even pictures of Hawley that are on the Capitol steps. He's walking amongst these people. He's shaking hands with some of them. And the Kansas City newspaper has called him out on it. And I believe, and this is my personal opinion because we're talking, so I didn't hear everything that he said, but I have a feeling that he's trying to do some kind of damage control. He was so intent on getting ahead, and being an important figure that he completely sacrificed stupidity.
And again, I'm open. I was always open to the idea that there might be fraud, because anytime 150 million people do anything, you can't tell me that it went off without a hitch. But given 50, 60 some odd lawsuits and all the recounts, some of them by hand, and you didn't find it, There is nothing there. There just isn't anything there. So this idea that it was fraud out there, I was willing to buy it, to say, hey, maybe there was. But when you go through all of this and you can't find any, and then you keep suggesting that it exists, and you're doing this purely for political reasons because you know there's a core segment of the population that believes this, fuck you. Fuck you. And fuck everybody that not believes it, because that's not fair to them, but fuck the people that know better but are using this for their own political gain. Fuck them. Fuck Hawley, fuck Ted Cruz, fuck all these people in the House, whoever. If you're fucking for that, fuck you. And this ain't got shit to do with Democrats and Republicans. It's just about what's fucking right and wrong. And that's where I get pissed, is that someone died today, and they didn't need to die today, but they died because they believed in a fucking lie. And Trump doesn't give a fuck whether you live or die. And that is so fucking clear now. And it just pisses me the fuck off because this shit didn't have to happen. But maybe this is exactly what the fuck America needs, so that way we can be open and honest about the fact that if 40,000 white people storm the Capitol, nobody gets fucking shot. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what it comes down to. Now you have to acknowledge that there is two fucking standards here. Because when it was Ferguson, when it was Baltimore, when Freddie Gray got beat up in the back of a police van and killed, they were ready to beat the shit out of peaceful protesters then who only wanted justice. These are people that have been fed a fucking lie and they believe it. And I don't necessarily blame them for believing it, but I blame the behavior they take as a result of believing the lie. But if you perpetuate the lie, or if you are politicizing the lie for your own fucking gain, fuck you. And that's from and that's from the heart. And I didn't mean to take up I didn't mean to snap like that, but the shit pisses me off. So Tubbs, I'll let you go, but I'm hot about the shit.
Okay, well, ditto, and then I guess good night, right?
It's a mic drop.
No. Well, I'll be honest. I kind of like you, Dennis. I kind of had the raw emotion of it. My first thought was, oh, well, of course it ends this way. Like, it has to end this way because there's no other way for it to end, right? So when this is maybe a bad analogy, but no, actually, no, I won't say that. But at some point, these people were going to have to come to grips with the fact that either A, this was a lie, or B, he was going to come out of office, or C, all of the above. And I agree with you, Dennis, in terms of the people who are feeding this machine. You know it's wrong. You literally know it's wrong. And just from a fairness perspective, he had every legal means to dispute the election.
Right.
And outside of a technicality on one, he lost 60 times. Right?
So, I don't know about you, but how many times do you need to lose to confirm that you lost?
Listen, it's an age-old question. How many times you have to touch a stove and know that it's hot, right? So he had every legal avenue to fight it, and he didn't. And he lost. So initially, I think we talked about this once before, but I worked with a guy one time. He said that the problem with America is that people don't know how to hold an L, right? Mm-hmm. So you got to hold this L. And listen, this is not. There have been contentious elections before, like you said, Denise. Like, think about 4 years ago. Can you imagine Democrats doing this because Hillary lost? Like, it would just be unheard of. It just seems as though, like, we are at a point here. And Dennis, I agree with you that I hope that maybe this is a wake-up call. But how many times has something happened and we said, man, I hope this is a wake-up call?
And see, that's exactly right. That's where the cynicism kicks in. And
so it's just like, man, like, you guys, like, I don't know why you guys got to keep doing this, but
I guess, Brian,
well, let me tell you this. And let me tell you just one last point. To Holly and Cruz and all those who are protesting this, I don't see how. I see how. Oh, let me be better. I don't agree with it, but I can see how you thought that going into this mode of action, if you will, was going to be beneficial to you. But now that it's happened, I don't see. This is not a calling card to say, you know what, you're ready to be president.
Agreed.
Like it's just like I think if you engage in this tomfoolery, whether you are a senator aspiring to be a presidential candidate, like you're disqualified. Just how dumb this is. Marco Rubio didn't do it.
Marco Rubio has been quieter than.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Him and Rick Scott.
Those guys looked at that and said, you know what? Nah, that ain't for me. Those guys did it.
But it doesn't mean that we're not going to forget.
And to your point, Dennis, about if that would have been black people doing it, like they had all been mowed down. Remember, there was I think somebody said it. It might have, I don't know if it was you or somebody, but the woman whose car broke down in front of the Capitol.
Yeah, I saw.
Oh, that was me.
Yeah,
that was me.
Because she was posed a quote unquote security threat. Her car broke down. She was by herself and she was shot and killed. So you're telling me that we can do that for somebody's car being broken down, but thousands of people stormed the Capitol, damaging property, sitting in Pelosi's office, doing all that stuff. Or you mean to tell me that in a building where the current vice president is, and I don't know if Kamala was there, but potentially
she was not.
Soon to be vice president was there. You mean to tell me that all those people stormed and they got in and no shots were fired? None? Not a one?
I mean, outside of the one lady that got shot and killed.
I can't buy it.
But
Yeah.
But I guess, and if you haven't seen the video where they removed the barricade and let the people come in, and the very first person was a person with an Oklahoma flag, it was like, God damn, y'all got to be the Sooners in every fucking thing. Like, I mean, honestly, I just think.
This is an onion. This is an onion because you could peel this so many different ways. Like you could talk about the security or lack thereof. You can talk about how the police are in there taking selfies and shaking hands with people.
Mm-hmm.
You can.
I don't know. Just so not to cut you off, I don't know what just happened, but Romney just got a standing ovation for whatever he just said. But continue.
Because he's always been a good and decent guy. His politics or his policy positions are one thing. That's a different discussion. But Romney's always been a good and decent guy. But when you can't even be good and even Kelly fucking Loeffler got up here and said, my intention was to contest this, and now after today, I can't contest this. Like, even she.
In good conscience.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Even she couldn't do it. For these fucking people to get up here and fucking do this. I'm, again, not talking politics. I'm not talking conservative, liberal, left, right. I'm just talking about what's fucking right and wrong. And, Brian, to your point, we're going to have to do some level of independent investigation, like 9/11 commission level shit, to figure out what the fuck happened, because they knew this was coming. Like, there's enough internet chatter that they monitor. They knew this was coming, and they were woefully unprepared. And I'll just say, I just keep thinking.
I will tell you this. I think to me it comes to two things. It's either you couldn't do anything or you wouldn't do anything.
I think it's
one of the two.
And I think we got to investigate. Yeah, we got to investigate that. But I just keep thinking for the last 6 months that, given everything that has transpired from the time COVID got here, to George Floyd and everything else, the election and everything else, I've just come to this idea that you cannot keep suggesting to people that the thing they saw isn't the thing that they saw. You can't
Agreed.
keep telling people, oh, it's going to go away when it doesn't go away. You can't keep telling people there was fraud with no proof and then not have something like this happen. And so I'm just tired and exhausted of people who are spinning this and suggesting to me that no. That thing that you saw, you've got it misconstrued. It's about, states' rights, and it's about these fraudulent ballots that were shredded and this, that, and the third. I don't believe in shit until shit happens. You have no fucking proof of any of this. And you know who's been a shining light this whole fucking time is Gabriel Sterling. And if you don't know who that is, he is the election official that does all the press conferences for the Secretary of State office in Georgia. That guy gets on TV
that's my
and says,
dude.
I am a lifelong Republican, but this is fucking bullshit. Everything that they're telling you is bullshit, and we can prove that it's all bullshit, and people still will not listen. And again, if you choose to believe this bullshit, that's on you. It's America. It's free will. You can do whatever you want. But at this point, there are a majority of people in this country that are rejecting this. And I do want to push back on one notion, and I'm hot right now. I'm on a bit of a rant, so forgive me. They keep bringing up this idea that 75 million people sided with the president and voted with him and this, that, and the third. And these people need to be talked to and reasoned with and accounted for. After today, that number is not 75 million people. It's
not at all.
It's that number. That is a stock that has dropped through the floor. That's Kodak stock. That's Polaroid.
Yeah. Well, hold on. But I agree with you. I think that it's dropped. But I'd be interested to know what the number is. I don't think it's dropped to like. Or you think it's dropped like half? I don't think it's dropped half.
Listen,
I wouldn't put some, but I wouldn't
put a number on it. I'm just saying that number is not 75 million. So I'm rejecting anybody who suggests to me that 75 million people still agree with Trump. Because I don't know how.
I will say this.
I don't know. I know. But I know there are people that are out there. But if people who are spinning this for their own political gain, again, PSA, fuck you.
Yeah, couple of things. Since, like I said, I've been watching it all day, and they have been saying, I've been hearing different things. Right before we came on, I heard that Rachel Maddow was just talking about, we already know that Melania's chief of staff has already dipped. We know what the Trump-appointed district attorneys up in Ohio and in Kentucky are what they're going to do. We've got people doing a mass exodus without a Moses out of this White House right now. People are packing their shit and they are finding any lifeboat that they possibly can. But
that means nothing to me. That means nothing to me. You're gonna do it with 2 weeks out?
No, but I mean yes, that's true. But what I'm saying is that kind of like what Dennis said, at this point, everything has unraveled. They gambled and they lost. And while they were gambling, they tried to convince us that the gamble was legit. And now, here we are, where we are. Word on the street is that the chief of staffs and Pence have been in contact with each other to invoke the 25th Amendment. So for all we know, Trump is not even going to be president in the morning.
Well.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Like y'all, no, not y'all, but I guess the bigger picture. You knew what this dude was.
Yep.
You got in bed with him, right? So on some level, you should have known. Like the track record should have let you know.
No. You got to hold this L. Everybody who signed up for this bullshit to reject these election results, fuck you. You got to hold this L, and for the rest of your fucking life, you have a scarlet letter. You betrayed this fucking country. You're a traitor.
Yep.
because there was no fraud.
Yep.
If we had 60 fucking lawsuits and multiple recounts, and you came up with it, you just supported him because you thought it was politically expedient. Fuck you.
Oh, no. I'm not. Listen, what I'm saying is, you lay down with dogs, you get fleas, right? So you got in bed with this dude. To make it even worse, you had the chance to get rid of him, and you chose not to. You chose not to because you were scared. So yes, you reap what you sow. You're holding this L, and for forever, your names are going to be attached to this because you could have got rid of him. You chose not to. You stayed with it, and not only do you have the stench of this, like look what he's cost you. He cost you the House. He cost you the White House, and he's cost you the Senate. In addition to, one of the things that I thought about is that do you know, like, everybody knows a person in their life who can always tell you about what you should be doing but can never apply it to their own life?
Yes.
Like, how in the world does America go abroad try to preach democracy?
Those days are gone.
You don't. You don't. That's done.
Those days are done.
I think that, yeah, those days are
done.
So let me say this. Those days are done for a while.
And that's the part where it's like, okay, I get it. You guys got into bed with this dude. You got to ride with him, whatever. But it's one of those things where, like, you make that plan, but you clearly did not think about all the ripples that are going to come from that decision. Like, you have royally
you're talking about
fucked us in a way. Future, whether it's Biden or whether it's 2 or 3 presidents down the line, you have screwed America in a way that no one has.
But you're talking about from a political perspective, and I agree.
Dennis is talking about it from the other way.
I'm talking about it just from a pure right and wrong, ethical, moral, whatever adjective you want to put on it. That's what I'm talking about. That you sacrificed the position of our country and the sanctity of our election process for your own political gain on a personal level. Like, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
And then institutionally, where this gets compounded even more, is these people are running through the halls of Congress and they know they won't be fucking shot. Meanwhile, as a black man, if I'm in my garage with a Subway sandwich, I can get shot and killed. And you can't suggest to me that isn't real, because that happened here in town 2 weeks ago. And that's why that's why I'm angry. Because I will never get to exercise my right as an American the way they did today and not fear repercussion from authorities. Now, granted, because there's a million feet of videotape, they can find out who these people are and they can go get them after the fact and they can haul them off to jail in the whole nine. But if I'd have done that, I'd have been shot. And you can't suggest to me after the last 6 months that that's not true. And that bothers me, especially on the day after we just elected the first black senator from the South Central
from the Deep South.
And so for all of America's progress, we still got to deal with this unresolved issue and this bullshit of Jim Crow and Reconstruction and segregation and black codes and racism. The shit is never going to fucking go away. And it was evident today when a mob of 30 or 40,000 white people can storm the Capitol and nothing happens. Denise, you know this as well as I do. This is just like the Red Summer.
Yes,
and
it is.
And I'll let you explain what the Red Summer is.
Okay, so Red Summer was the summer of 1919. It was a year in which I would probably, if I had to guess, probably anywhere between 100 to 300 different kind of race riots, massacres, and lynchings happening across the country. The largest one being in Chicago, right on, I think it was at Lake Michigan or Lake Huron. That's right there in the bay over there. But okay, whatever. Anyways, it all starts because believe it or not, way back when they actually segregated the lake. Not really sure how you do that, but in any case, somebody threw a rock and white people threw it back, and it hit a kid who drowned. And as a result, the black people wanted justice. And what the white people and all of the cops did was basically go into black neighborhoods and they shot it up. People were lynched. Hundreds of black people died. I think the amount of white people was like maybe 30, but like the actual number of black people that died within that one riot, that one event is still unknown. But everywhere from, like I said, Chicago to New York to Mississippi to Arizona, Oklahoma, it did not matter. If it was summer and it was 1919, it was open season on black people.
So I guess at this point, and I'm really trying not to lose my shit here after watching this all day and while trying to work, I guess what I'm really trying to do, I guess what I really want to talk to you guys about now is, so what's next? Because I really don't know what's next. I'm having conversations with people, and I'm sure you guys are too. And this is when I explain to people that sometimes being black is just fucking exhausting. This is a really good example of this, because there I am as an American and I can't exercise the right that I just saw because I have to live in fear that I'll be shot and killed if I exercise that right. Or being shot and killed for even less. So I don't know where we go from here. All I know is I just don't want someone to suggest to me that the thing that I saw wasn't the thing that I saw. That, they stole the Capitol building and they broke a couple things and that's it. No.
That's not a ho-hum. Yeah, that's not a ho-hum thing.
This is way bigger than Nino Brown. You know what I mean? This is way bigger than Nino Brown. Don't suggest to me that I didn't see what it is that I just saw, or don't suggest to me that it doesn't mean what it is that I know that it means.
I would say, as far as where do we go from here, I don't know. And I don't think anybody knows. Like I was explaining to our mother who just came down here to ask her resident historian a question, was that at least in 1860, the South was like, you know what, we don't like Lincoln, so we'll just leave, versus what we just went through today. And as far as where do we go from here, I don't have an answer for you. And anybody who attempts to give you an answer needs to go back and revisit what just happened today.
Yeah, go
ahead, Des.
No, I was going to say my sincere hope is that this becomes something of a 9/11 moment where the entire country comes together. We have now identified a common enemy and we go to work on that enemy. That's my sincere hope, but I don't have a whole lot of faith that that's going to happen. But honestly, we got hit by some terrorists once before, and we went after them. I would like to think that we could do that again.
But here's the thing: the difference, Dennis, is that was overseas. We're talking about: are you really? Yeah. Are you really going to? It's easy to turn the gun on somebody.
I'm not talking about bomb and deplete. I'm not talking about bomb and deplete. I'm talking within the confines of the law. Go after these people, but make examples out of them.
But here's the thing. I would pose this also to you, based on your history as a black man and our history collectively as black people. That's not a winning bet.
No, it's not. Oh no, I agree with that 100%. What's the line? You can hope in one hand and shit in the other, right?
I was going to say, Dennis. At the bottom of Pandora's box, all that's left is hope. There's nothing Come on.
But hold on.
It's
But
just-
yeah, I mean,
that's a good point. But honestly, what else do we have? What
Well,
else?
true.
And therein
You
lies the
don't have
problem
a
with
whole-
hope.
But again, there you go. So what does hope get you? Like hope gets you. Hope lifts people out of despair. It can give you something to fight for, something to live for. But at some point, the metal's gotta, it's gotta hit. Like there has to be something of substance or something tangible that goes along with that hope. Otherwise, it's just, I don't want to say it's like a fantasy land, but and yes, sometimes you got to work for the things that you want. And so, yes, people can be proactive, whether people can ID these people or the charges get brought or things like that. But at the end of the day, you know it and I know it and Denise knows it and every black person knows it. And probably now over the past 6 months, there is probably a vast, group of people that are white or other different nationalities that know it as well. That hey, guess what? These guys are probably going to, after they did their business, they go back to their Ramada Inn or their Holiday Inn or the Marriott or whatever. They'll high five like their team just won the Super Bowl, and then after they're done, they'll talk about the fun times they had. They'll take a shower. And the other thing too is that I don't think that this is over.
Not at all.
It wouldn't
Not at
shock
all.
me if they did this every day until Biden got inaugurated. And quite frankly, at this point, you might want to hold that inauguration inside the rotunda or somewhere else because they come in for that too.
Well, a couple of things on that. So I don't remember the exact quote, and maybe one day I'll have to sit down and actually try and find it. But if we go back 200 and some odd years, it's 230, 250, whatever, however old we are as a country, John Adams actually said that most democracies are not sustainable. A democracy going past 200 years is a success. It's well beyond the lifespan of what a real Greek-style democracy is. Now the United States is based off of the Roman Republic by having elected officials and things like that. So it's not a true democracy. But if a real democracy is only good for 200 years, if we have an abbreviated version of a democracy, you could argue that we could be in the beginning of a downward spiral.
That sounds good.
Not saying that we are. I'm not saying that we are.
There's too much money here to allow the collapse.
No. I'm not saying that we are. What I'm saying is that we are at a crossroads, and whatever happens here in the next, I think we are.
Well, I think to your point, Denise, it's either the beginning of the end or the end of the beginning.
Exactly. That's the point I'm making. Because it's going to end one way or the other. The question is what part of the story are we at? Are we at the end of the book? Or like I said the other day, are we at the Rubicon or have we already passed it?
Oh, we've crossed it. I think today was the moment where it was crossed. I do think watching all these senators and Congress people talking, my sense is based on what they're saying is that they know that history is going to remember who said what when. And they are all tailoring their comments to massage how they'll be viewed historically 50 years from now.
An interesting thing you guys should check out is if you go back to and kind of review the Watergate scandal, and you pick out a couple of people from both sides, the people that defended Nixon and then the people that were against Nixon. If you go back and read their obits after they died, it is a stark contrast. Every person who supported Nixon was demonized, was only remembered for the bad things that they did. The real highlight reel of what not to do in Washington. And the people who were against Nixon are all praised. We're looking at that live right now. The only difference is that these people are alive and they understand.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's the beginning of the end or the end of the beginning. I don't know. I mean, I know in my heart what I hope to happen, but like you said, Brian, I mean, it's wishful thinking. But at this point, the most dangerous thing or the most dangerous threat to America, to our country. The most dangerous thing are domestic terrorists who all happen to be armed white militia. That is the biggest threat to our country, right? It's not a foreign power. Russia's not dropping nukes. China's not going to send a navy over here. It's this insurgency inside of our country. And they have a leader now who, and they are willing to die on that hill for that leader. And I know we don't we're not supposed to turn guns on other Americans, and I'm not suggesting that, but we got to go after these people with the full weight and might of the federal and state government. That's what I'm saying. You need to go after these people because they're terrorists, and we do not bow down to terrorism. That's not what we do. And again, you're supposed to take an oath not to a person, but to the Constitution and to defend it against what? Enemies, foreign and domestic. These are domestic enemies, and they should be dealt with as such.
Listen,
I'm with all that.
I'm here. Listen, I'm here for it. If it happens and it transpires, absolutely. But I will also tell you this: when all that civil unrest was happening during the summer, and George Floyd and the whole nine, I was talking to a friend, and she was like, "Things have to change now. They have to change." It was on tape. Da, 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 da. I said, "Check back with me in 6 months, and we'll see how this is going." And you know what happened? Well, obviously we had Corona, but for the most part, people got back to their lives.
Yep.
Right. And
pretended that it didn't happen.
Listen, it's sad. As sad as it is, it became a hashtag, and it went away.
Yep.
And so what I would say with this is, as optimistic as I am that something will happen, as much as I would want something to happen, we gotta, we'll see what happens. I hope, Dennis, that like you said, that it's something that people will maybe take a second look at themselves, look in the mirror, and be like, "Yo, like what is happening here?" Like
I don't know, but Lady G is speaking.
But I will also tell you that, Dennis, I mean, you're asking a lot of people who literally came cross country to storm the Capitol.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not asking anything of them. I want to be clear. I'm not asking anything of them. I'm asking for people in a position of authority to hold them accountable for the action they took. That's what I'm asking for. If you came from Oregon to do this bullshit, that's on you. I'm asking for people in a position of authority to hold them accountable for the bullshit that they pulled today.
But the other thing, too, is that there's also probably not a silent majority, but a silent group of people who weren't there today, but were there in spirit.
No, not all that. Of course there was, because there were people protesting downtown at the State House. They ran up on the Kansas State House today. I saw a clip earlier.
They did the same thing in Arizona,
where they stormed the governor's mansion in the state of Washington. Like, these people feel as if they can do whatever the fuck they want to do. And what I'm saying is, where are the people to hold them accountable who would shoot me dead in the street and wouldn't think twice about it and claim they were threatened? Here are people out here threatening people, and you won't do a goddamn thing about it.
They're in there taking selfies with them.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what the fuck I'm saying. Is this shit's got to fucking stop. But the difference is it's on fucking Front Street now. So don't suggest to me that this isn't what I saw. That thing I saw wasn't the thing that I saw. It was right there for all of us to see. So don't come to me with the bullshit. And again, this has got shit to do with being progressive or conservative. It's just about what's fucking right and wrong. Or let me say it more succinctly. It's about my right as a citizen. I got the right as a citizen not to feel threatened by positions of authority. If they're supposed to hold people accountable, then hold everybody fucking accountable. Don't shoot me in the back when I'm walking into my house, but let them storm the Capitol because the color of their skin, they pose no threat. You assume that there's no threat. Meanwhile, we're not even talking about the real threat now that this initial threat's gone, which is fucking Congress is now fucking covered in COVID because none of these people are wearing a fucking mask. So now,
You know what? That was my second thought today too. Was like, there's no mask. Ain't nobody wearing no mask.
This is a fucking hazard zone now, and everybody, all these senators. I mean, god damn it! God, damn
it's a super spreader event.
It isn't.
Why the fuck do we all have to die because you don't want to wear a fucking mask? Like, and that's the other thing to this. It's like the river of ignorance and bullshit that runs through this country never it's literally, it is fucking Ghostbusters 2 level river of ignorant and shit that flows through.
Another thing, the other thing to your point before about everybody's remembering how history's going to remember them, I think the other thing too is, we kind of talked about it a little bit, but just politically, the Republicans have to own this. Like, they are the party who started this, and they're the ones who,
whoever is clapping for Lindsey Graham right now.
No, not trying to hear it. But
Lady G just finished.
Yeah, but to that point, I do think that this is something that's going to be, this is on their tab, right? And this is a huge bill. So, if the Democrats are conniving, which they're not, we're like, I think we talked about this before, but, sometimes, something happens, like, there's a price for that, right? So can the Democrats freak that into something to like, all right, yeah, well, you're talking all this yang, but okay, your people stormed the Capitol. But
I hear what you're saying, and I'm just going to say I'm just not ready to get into the politics of this shit yet. Because honestly, I just feel, as someone who is independent and not affiliated with any party, there's no goddamn way I'm voting for a Republican ever again. Because
definitely not these Republicans.
Yeah, because
these Republicans.
You guys, at a minimum, turned a blind eye to the shit, and some of you doubled down on it. I'm not saying Democrats have the answer, because Lord knows they don't. But I'll never vote fucking Republican in my life because you guys turned a blind eye or co-signed on this bullshit. So yeah, they are absolutely. They have the largest percentage to blame, and if it's a pie chart. They have the largest percentage to blame, I guess, but the person who owns the majority of this blame is the president. Because he held a fucking rally with 30,000 people and told them to march east and storm the Capitol. And then went back.
And then went home.
Went to the White House and jumped on
watched
Twitter,
it all.
And then watched it and jumped on Twitter and kept, to the point where they had to fucking shut his Twitter account off. Like, we've been begging for this shit for the last 18 months, and now they finally had to fucking shut his Twitter off because the shit got this serious. Like, I just want people to wake the fuck up. You can be Republican, you can be conservative, you can take your policy positions, but you have to condemn this shit outright. And anybody who doesn't do that, fuck you. Don't spin this shit. Don't try to suggest that it's something that it wasn't. This was bullshit. All of it. It didn't.
No. You have to sit in this. You have to sit in this. Like, this is yours. You have to sit in this
and stew in it.
Yeah, like there is no passing the buck here. Like, there is literally no passing the buck. This is all on you. Like I said before, you're gonna have to hold this L. And when history, renders its verdict, when we're all dead and gone, when history renders its verdict, guess what? You're still going to be sitting in this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, you knew who this man was. You even had a chance to cut bait, and you didn't. Rick Wilson always has this thing where he says something about, you bought the ticket, now you got to ride the ride. So You bought the ticket, so now you got to ride the ride.
Right.
Yeah. And don't try to jump ship because this is.
Yeah, I want you to hold this L the way we've had to hold L's all our lives. You got to hold this L. And you're going to have to hold this L for the rest of your life. I saw something the other day, and it was Will Cain was on Fox News. It was a clip. And I've never cared for Will Cain.
Oh, yeah.
He was talking about how, there's a certain portion of the country that feels like their values are not being reflected, and they feel like they're being attacked on a daily basis, and this isn't the country that they thought they knew. And I just retweeted it and I said, this is what being black feels like.
Yep.
That you sell me on these ideals, and then when I try to participate in these ideals, you tell me, no, that's not right. The country's not really, you know what I mean? And you do it through certain sort of subliminal means and shit. And I saw that and I retweeted it, and people really had like a positive reaction to what it was that I posted. And I'm not saying that to get people to like it or whatever. I'm just saying that this shit is fucking exhausting. So, and I think people who are disenfranchised or minority know that what they saw today, they could never pull off. If that was 50,000 gay people that were marching like that and they stormed the Capitol, they'd have shot them too. You could have been Korean and you would have got mowed down. It doesn't make a difference unless you are white. And I hate to say that because I have people in my life who are white, who I love like my family. And they know who they are. But that was bullshit. And we have, if we are going to aspire to be, if this is really going to be sort of a change agent moment, and we're going to aspire to be the type of country that we think we are, then we have to call this bullshit out when we see it. You know, only light can drive out the darkness is the quote, right? Well, fucking Fucking shine a light on it and let's go.
Dennis, but listen, I think there's going to be way too many people who are going to want to try to sweep this under the rug, and they shouldn't, because you got to hold this L. But these people are now, they've never been concerned about their legacy. And now they because are. Of the events of today, now they are. But nobody wants to be Benedict Arnold.
I guess that's
so they're trying to remake it. They're trying to remake it in the air. You know, you're building a plane in the air.
It's an attempt of revisionist history real time.
And yes. And that's what I'm saying. But miss me with the bullshit. That's what I'm saying. And you guys know me well enough to know
don't disagree.
I don't ever get this hot about anything. I don't ever get this pissed about anything.
I know. Usually it's me.
But this is
It's definitely not me.
Yeah. I never get this pissed about anything, but this was fucking bullshit. All of it. And it didn't need to happen, but because we have been appeasing this motherfucker for 4 years and saying shit like, well, just give him some time to get over the loss and he'll concede this, that, and the third. Like, you played into the shit. All because you're scared of a goddamn tweet.
Just let me give you another.
I can't imagine being so scared about somebody online talking shit about me. I can't identify with this type of thinking. Seriously, are you scared of a Twitter bully? Like, it's not like it's not like he's gonna show up to your crib and whoop your ass. What the fuck are you scared of? What you're scared of is losing your seat and the power that comes with your seat. And that tells me, is that you're not the leader you claim to be. Because in a moment where you could have stood up and be a leader, what did you do? You bow down.
Let me give you another example. Let me give you another example of something where we're like, you know, we're better than this. This is another, like, we have to
do better.
We got to do better. You know, that, you know, insert euphemism here. Charlottesville.
Whoa.
Right? So a woman died unnecessarily.
A white woman at that.
A white woman at that. So I presume this woman who died today is a white woman. I don't know, but
you saw a shot of her. They caught a live shot.
She could have been.
I don't know. I didn't see it. I don't know. I didn't see it. But nonetheless, we ask these same questions. Is this who we really are? You know, people need to be held accountable. You know, yada yada yada. Trump incited it. Yada yada yada. Right? And what happened?
We're going to go back to the same thing tomorrow.
We are still here.
Yep.
Well, that just means the roots hold on, I get what you're saying. That just means the roots run deep. That's all you're saying is that the roots run deep. I acknowledge that they run deep. I do. And I'm not here to say that we're going to be able to wipe the slate clean or get rid of this shit tomorrow. What I'm saying, and this is what I'm challenging people who listen to this. What I'm saying is call the bullshit when you see it. Speak truth to power. And don't allow people to spin what it is that you saw today into something that it wasn't. There were people barricaded inside of their offices and they thought they were going to die, all because 40,000 people were fed lies for 4 years and they believed it and they were empowered to go do that.
You know, out of all the stories that we heard about, you know, members of Congress barricading themselves, the one that tripped me out, and I can't remember what her name is, but I see her face. She, when they told them they had to leave the House floor, she and another representative ran into a room that they thought was a safe room. And come to find out, about 5-10 minutes after they went in there, they realized it was not a safe room. It had no windows, but it wasn't a designated one. And they could hear outside the door all of the rioters coming through, running up and down the halls, busting stuff up. And she says on NBC, I'm afraid for my life. I called my husband to tell him where my last will and testament was. It's like, that's where we're at. That's where we're at.
Yeah, that's where we're at. And again, I'm just beside myself, but I'm just urging people to please, at least from an authority perspective, you got to hold these people accountable in some sort of way, because because if they do it once, they're going to do it again. And what I want to know is when they come to do it again, because if you give them an inch, when they come to do it again, what are you going to do then? What are you going to do then? But the difference is this.
That's tomorrow.
They didn't want to shoot them because they didn't want that going all around the world, to where we completely descended into chaos. But they would have accepted that. But what I'm saying is the trade-off is they would have done it if it would have been a minority. And that's where the ends justify the means, where they can go to the rest of the world and say, well, you know, it wasn't really one of us.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I think that the three of us could probably agree to that fact, that if it would have been somebody that looked like us, then yeah, there would have been, they'd be picking up a lot of dead bodies at the Capitol. But I don't want to say that's just the way it is because it's unacceptable. But I agree with your assessment that they're not going to do that because of the optics of it. And also to be, like you said, if somebody who looks like you, I'll make this statement. They didn't feel that there was a threat there with those people. They even helped them in. I saw a video of a police officer. They grabbed someone's hand and was walking them down the steps.
Yep.
Like, who does that? Who does that?
Those people.
That's what I'm saying. You don't do that. You only do that if you don't feel as though you don't feel a threat,
or you are assumed to get the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Because this is what I've described to people sometimes. Imagine living your entire life knowing you would never get the benefit of the doubt, even when the facts are on your side. And now you get just a small taste of what it's like to be black.
Yeah. Now extrapolate that over an entire lifetime.
And then extrapolate that over the founding of this country.
400 years.
400 years. And much like interest, it compounds.
Yes.
And so, again, I can't help but approach this through the lens of my own experience. But, you know, this just reinforces why when I retire, I'm just leaving this country altogether. I'm going to retire somewhere where it's warm and it's a beach And I mean,
You're not wrong.
This clearly is no longer a safe place. And you're
No,
going to
it's not.
tell me that it is a safe place, that my feelings are misplaced, that I've got it all wrong, then go arrest those 40,000 people that did what they just did. Did you see the video of the woman that got maced talked about we're here because it's a revolution?
Yes.
They thought it was
Yeah.
a fucking revolution. Not to mention, they brought the greatest second place flag of all time and waved it proudly in the Capitol, which is the Confederate flag. That is a flag for
Which
losers.
even during the Civil War, my understanding is it never made its way to the Capitol.
Right.
No, it didn't.
Right.
The closest that the closest the Confederacy ever got to D.C., I think, was Richmond.
And Richmond was
If I remember right?
Richmond was capital confession.
Richmond was the capital of the
But that is
Confederacy.
the flag of losers. Why? We're America. We're winners. We're not losers. We don't do loser shit. And here you are waving the flag.
Apparently
of
they do.
No, apparently we do.
Yeah, apparently
Loser
we
shit.
do. Loser shit.
Because in what scenario is this a winning hand?
Yeah, I don't see. That's what I'm saying. And fuck you for trying to suggest, not you specifically, Tubbs, but fuck anybody that tries to suggest to me that they can spin this into something positive.
Yeah, I don't see how this can be positive.
You see what I mean?
I see how this is destructive.
I can see people going behind closed doors saying we can use this to get Trump voters to come vote for us in 2 years or 4 years. Again, PSA.
Well,
Fuck you.
Well, here's the other thing too is, and I know, like you said, you're not here on the political side of it, but this man's going to leave office and he's going to have a huge megaphone because he's starting like a network or a website or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So this vibe, this quote unquote revolution, as the lady called it ain't going nowhere. If anything, it's going to get worse. And so then again, A, Republicans, you're going to have to hold this L for what happened today. B, you are the party that is responsible for all this.
Mm-hmm.
So now even your cats like a Romney or a Collins or a Murkowski, listen, y'all ain't down with it, but y'all got that R next to your name.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a lot of people going to go down because this is a guilt by association. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I know you didn't. I know it wasn't you. But listen, because that happens to black people all the time. Yeah, it wasn't you, but it was your people. So
Yep.
You were in the no.
I agree.
No. It's not even that. It's not even that. Well, you didn't pull the trigger, but you were in the car.
Yep.
That's classic example. Yep, you didn't do it, but you were there.
You didn't pull the trigger, but you were in the car. You didn't even drive the car. You didn't even drive the getaway, but you were there. Therefore, we got to think it's a 30-year bid for you because you were in the car. That's how I feel about anybody who is going to spin this in order to get some sort of political gain.
Well, I would say that the one thing that I do think is true, and I mean, time's gonna, as we get further along, I mean, this will probably prove true later on. But, you know, this is the second time that we've seen the Republican Party split in two. Now, granted, it was a little bit more peaceful in 1912.
Well, hold on. Pause. I don't think we're there yet. I don't see any indication whatsoever that they're.
I'm not saying that they're going to. What I'm saying is that this is how the split. This is how the splinters started.
Oh, the Lincoln Party, is that what's going to happen next?
I actually think that we'll probably get a Lincoln Party.
Well, I don't know.
Some way of. Yeah, Republican classic. Yeah, you know, like Coke classic.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. All I know is that we're reaching a point in this country where if you are a good and decent person, it's almost impossible for you to be Republican as a good and decent person.
And they're just now reporting that the Senate has officially voted against the objection. So they basically have told Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley to go have several seats.
But that's one state though. And it was
No.
Yeah. But for what I understand, they're going to let this go through.
No, they're going to condense it to one state, is my understanding.
Yes. Okay. Like after this, that's it. They're not. Yeah. When I saw that Rand Paul went on Fox News, it was like, yeah, yeah, we're just gonna let this go through. Like, we'll go back in there. We'll let them, people say what they want to do, but at the end of the day, it's not. This is as far as we're doing.
Again, this is not a winning hand here. Like, there are people who literally went into today thinking that not so much that they was going to change the outcome, but like, I'm gonna make my voice heard and I'm gonna look good on TV. Hell, even Ted Cruz said for the viewers at home, not the voters, the viewers. Like,
yeah.
So
you're talking about you're saying that there are people today who made a political calculation that taking this position is the right political strategy. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, because they're playing for the next election, which, okay, I get it. Politics is a game. But what you fail to recognize, is that by playing this game, you are literally between those people out there protesting and Trump lighting his matches on Twitter and his beef with Pence, and then you're going to be out here doing it. Listen, you can't throw all that stuff in a pot and not expect for it to not combust here. Like, you're playing with fire. And you knew you were playing with fire because everybody's outside.
Well, not even, but I guess that's the point. That is the naivete of the last 4 years at a minimum. The last 5 years at a minimum is you really thought you could get this off without any repercussion. But honestly, if there's one thing in the last 5 years that we've learned, it's the only person that can get this off is Trump. No one else can get this off. But now he's completely pissed off enough people. So now there's talk of 25th Amendment. There's talk of people openly resigning their cabinet positions with 2 weeks. Yeah. But again, not to be all revisionist history about it. You just wish these people had some level of conviction. It didn't have that you didn't. It's a shame that it had to get to this before all of a sudden you found your conviction. But the one thing that I am not here for is anybody who's trying to do the same side bullshit. To say, well,
absolutely. No, there is no same side.
There's no same side.
I think Charlottesville taught you you can't. There is no. You can't
both sides.
You can't both sides right and wrong.
No, you can't. And I don't want to hear any shit about, it wouldn't have got this bad if you wouldn't have been so critical of the president. And my first response
fuck that.
But you guys were doubling down and being super fucking critical of Obama. But you guys but soon as somebody criticizes your guy, I'm not getting into this same side shit. It's about what's right and what's wrong. And again,
here's the thing
about right and wrong from a subjective perspective. We all as Americans agree that storming the Capitol this way and destroying stuff in a riot in a violent manner is wrong. And to suggest that these were people that were unheard is bullshit. You voted, you lost. Hold this L. Hold it. Hold it like your name. Hold it like your name was Jamal and you just came out of the bodega and you put your hand in your pocket and they ran up on you. Hold that L. Hold it.
All right, I'll take that. That's a great one. I don't know how you follow up with that.
I'm sorry. I'm just hot about this. This shit pisses me. I'm just fucking pissed about this.
It's not that I'm angry, but I'm a calm angry. And I don't know, I'm just a calm angry. This is the I told you so moment, at least for me. For me, what I saw today was a confirmation of what I've been talking about for the last 2 years.
You know what? I get what you're saying, but I can't be calm when I'm upset because I love my country. I love my country. It's the only place I've ever known. And that's why.
And see, I'm the opposite. This country don't respect me, so therefore they don't get my anger. I'm not going to give them that.
Denise, that's where I am because I'm not angry because I expect this. This has been my experience that there are two justice systems. There is two of everything. There's one for them. There's one for us. So in watching today's events, it was like, well, yeah, of course they're going to storm the Capitol, and of course they're going to go to Applebee's afterwards because that's what happens. Like, and no matter how, I don't want to be resigned to, well, that's just, like I said, that's just the way it is. But like, that's the system that this country has been built on. And so, yes, I would love to see some change and some action and some real equity and real equality. But people gotta want it.
Listen,
people have to be made uncomfortable enough to want it.
I get what you're saying,
and
much
I don't
like
know that people have been made uncomfortable enough to want it.
And I get what you're saying, and much like you, I'm not shocked at people being able to get away with it so much, because you're right, it is expected. Like, this is the logical conclusion. So much like you guys are saying, like, I get it. Like logically, we were always going to get to this place, and anybody who suggests otherwise is just hopelessly naive. And if you take offense to that, then holla at me. We can talk about it, but you're naive. But it's different when you see it. And I guess the point I'm making is, and I go back to what I said at the beginning, this shit triggered me. And that's why I'm pissed, because I've been triggered to see that this happened today. This didn't have to happen today. It didn't have to happen. It's never happened before in terms of people storming like that. Like that shit just didn't have to happen. So yeah, I know that there's two justice systems because hell, I've experienced it. But I get it. And this is the logical conclusion and the whole nine, and I get it. But it's different when you see it. And the only thing I can compare it to is George Floyd. When I saw it, I was triggered off it. Even though I know that type of shit happens every fucking day, I saw it and I was triggered off it. And this is much like you, Tuz. You told me many times before, one of your triggers is anything that has to do with children. And for me, I'm learning about myself that for me, one of my triggers is this level of unnecessary violence is a trigger for me. Because either A, it's being done to someone who looks like me, or it's being allowed because the people that are doing it don't look like me. That is a trigger for me. And I don't know how to deal. I don't know how to deal with that other than to try to channel this emotion in a productive way before I go punch a wall or something.
Well, and like I said, I understand what you're saying. I guess on my end, because I'm looking at this from two perspectives as a Black woman, understanding what, going through what I've gone through as a woman and as a Black woman. But I'm also looking at this as a person who studies history on their own. And when there was a guy on MSNBC's, like one of those like retired intelligence officials or whatever, and he made a comment that I guess if I was gonna say it was a trigger, this would have been it. When he basically went on TV and said, yeah, I talked to some of my people that are still in the FBI, still in the National Guard, X, Y, and Z. And he basically said, yeah, they relaxed because they knew. That was a trigger. Because he basically went on national television and confirmed what we already suspected.
The fix is
that the fix was in. They knew it could have happened, and they denied the mayor of D.C. access to the National Guard. They knew it was going to be this bad. And the fact that it went all the way up the chain over in the Pentagon to the defense secretary, and they said no on orders from Trump, only to find out later that the National Guard shows up how many hours later? 3-4 hours later? And then they start to report the really reason the National Guard showed up is because Pence is effectively acting as president. He's the one who said send the troops in.
Which he does not have the authority to do.
No, he doesn't. But from what I understand is Trump
abdicated the office at this point. So Pence is basically acting as president.
Essentially, yes. Now, I'm not saying that it's like that makes it official or anything like that. That's not where I'm at. But for me, that was a trigger, was that the fact that not only was the fix in, the fix has been in. And to screw over your capital like that, to screw over the mayor like that.
No, it's our capital. It's our capital.
Sorry,
Yeah.
our capital. Sorry, our capital.
Or their capital.
Thank you, Brian. But this also brings up a different issue. DC statehood.
It's happening now. It's happening now
because if DC was a state,
there was no governor to call in the National Guard that they had to borrow it from Virginia and Maryland. You can get DC statehood now. You can guarantee that.
And no, but that's just it. They didn't call them in from the governors of Virginia and Maryland did that on their own. That was voluntary.
Yeah, they chose to do that.
Because they chose to send their people in when they found out that the federal government was not going to. But if DC was a state, then the mayor of DC, Mayor Bowers, would have been able to go directly to her governor and said, send in these troops.
Yeah. And so, like you gonna get.
That's happening now.
You're gonna get DC statehood now. Like after, and here's the thing.
You're gonna get Puerto Rico statehood.
You can't suggest.
That's if Puerto Rico want it though. They don't want to pay them taxes.
But no, they want it now. After that hurricane, they want it now.
You can't suggest that what happened today isn't gonna happen again. DC statehood is coming. Because
whether you like it or not.
Yeah, because they gotta protect themselves. But anyway, so any sort of final thoughts here? While I have you guys, how quick do you think we're gonna get a $2,000 stimulus now? Since Georgia,
man, let me tell you something. I'm just going to quote the senator-elect from Georgia, Raphael Warnock, on The View today. Whoopi asked him, what is the first thing that's on your docket when you get to Washington? And he said two things: vaccine, $2,000 checks. He coming in doing that. So as far as I'm concerned, we finna to get some checks.
Well, you know what? Sure. I mean, I think that'd be great. I don't know how fast we're getting it, but I think
it's happening.
It's going to be on the list of things to do. I don't know how fast it's coming, but it's coming.
Mm-hmm. But if there's anybody at this point who could help right the ship, so to speak, or quote unquote, I'm glad it's Biden. If it was somebody else, I'd be suspect.
A lot of life is timing. A lot of life is timing in terms of like being where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. And so all those times that he ran for president, it just wasn't his time. But for this particular instance, and for everything that's going on, the time called for somebody who is empathetic, somebody who knows how government works and knows how to pull the levers, and just an experienced politician. Like, I think here's what I think happened. I think America decided, and I guess maybe to put the bow on Trump here, but like America got out of a relationship, an 8-year relationship with somebody, and then they're back out here in these streets. They come across somebody like Hillary, who was like, that's the person you should be with. Or you just got out of this long-term relationship. Here's Trump. Let's have some fun. Let's live a little dangerously. So now you live a little dangerously.
Yeah, but now you have
like,
a fucking,
you know what?
Yeah, but now you have a fucking coke habit.
Yeah, exactly.
Now you have a fucking coke habit and you fuck street whores on the low. No.
I'm getting to that. So now you wake up, and you're looking around, and it's that brief moment of clarity. You don't know the name of the person you're laying next to. Your place smells like cigarettes, dog shit, and bourbon, and you're just looking.
My God.
And you're like, you know what? you know what? Life can be better than this. Like, I got to make some changes
I
here.
hope so.
And so now, so you clean yourself up. Maybe you go with your people, you go out, and then you meet another person similar to Hillary, but you're like, you know what? That's the one I should have been with this entire time. And then knowing, now that you had that life experience, you swoop that person up, and then you kick the other person to the
I
curb.
wish
Listen,
people
man,
had that level of retrospective
I agree.
clarity. But honest to God, at this point, given the last year that we've had at this point, it's like, fuck that, man. You know what you just described? You just described Bill Burr in one of those very first Chappelle episodes in the skit where he's like, sorry, man, a mouse a mouth. That's what you just described. Then we don't have that type of introspection in this country. Like I hope we do. Like I really hope we wake up tomorrow and people get on TV and not do a dog and pony show and really say, you know what, yesterday was a bunch of bullshit and we can't support it. And if you support that, then we're not even going to give you airtime. But honestly, Brian, at this point, that's what America has turned into. There are some of us that have that clarity, that pick ourselves up by the bootstraps, clean ourselves up, and make something of our lives and sort of invest in ourselves to be better people. And then there's the other half that are just going to say, fuck it, man, a mouth. That's where we're at. And what I'm saying is pick a side so I know how to address you appropriately.
The reason I say it is because literally 4 years later, you have the option to double down on what you had the past 4 years, or you can go with something tried and true. You can go with something that you know is dependable, something you can count on, right? So you went with, listen, Biden's a Honda Accord. Okay.
Absolutely.
It's reliable.
It's reliable. It's got great gas mileage.
It's going to get you great gas mileage. It's going to get you from A to B. It's got a CD player. The AC works. Like, that you're not going to have to pump no money into this thing.
Right.
It's a Honda. Right.
Yeah.
So you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? So you know what you're getting. So that's what America was like, you know what? Sign me up for the Honda Accord. Like, I'm not out here.
But I even think it goes.
What you saying is take the double. Don't go 0 for 4. Just take the double.
Well, that, and I think too, the other thing about what makes Biden perfect for this particular situation is that, and I don't know if you guys saw his quick remarks tonight. Did you see it?
Say that again.
Did you see Biden tonight?
But listen,
when he came out,
what it's like to hold an L.
Okay, so here's the deal.
Like
here's the thing, because he came out and he said first he starts off by saying he was going to talk about the economy and what he was going to plan with the vaccinations and stuff. He was like, but clearly I can't talk about that today because of what happened. But he makes his comment, and on the way out from the podium, somebody tried to ask him a question. And he turned around with a finger pointed at them and said, enough is enough is enough. Yeah, and then he turned around and walked off.
But he probably said it like somebody's grandpa who was talking to their grandkids when they got annoyed. Like, I don't.
Either way, it was understood the anger that he had. He was pissed off.
Well, I'm pissed too. So what the fuck are we gonna do about it? Like, that's where I'm at.
Well, we got 2 weeks to figure out what he's gonna do.
Listen, and that's when we were having the text message earlier. We're talking about, so Democrats have control of the Senate, and you got this power now. And whether you want to argue it or not, black people chose Joe Biden, right? Yep. And then so on the strength of black people and certainly other groups as well, other voters in general, now you got your power. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do?
According to your mother, that everything's going to go through just fine on because nobody wants Kamala Harris. The white folks are not going to go for Kamala Harris.
See, but here's the thing.
Everything's going to run smoothly.
Listen. She's going to play a role here, whether she gets elevated or she's
not
here, making policy. But she's going to play a role here.
And
People just
people
going to get
might as
over
well
it.
get comfortable. They're ready to get
Yeah,
comfortable at
and
this
people just
point.
have to get over it. She's the
I
vice
mean,
president, crying out loud.
yeah, like, I mean, I don't know about you, but I mean, I'm excited. But then again, but I mean, not to like, put my own feeling in it, but I've always been a Kamala fan anyway. She don't play,
I
and
know
she never has.
you're a Kamala stan.
I voted for her. Well, I live in San Diego. I mean, I really wanted to get rid of Dianne Feinstein, who I truly believe fell asleep in the Senate chamber this afternoon.
Die-fi?
Yeah, but I mean, but that also goes into the other thing too of,
Did you know she's 87 years old?
she's 89
As a senator?
89? Oh, that's even worse.
as a senator.
Yeah.
She is old as, she is
Sit
as
down.
old
Oh, go home.
as the dirt. That's what I'm saying,
What are
man.
you doing? Like, hold on. I want to be clear. I'm not trying to shame nobody because of their age, and I'm sure there are 89-year-olds out here that are doing wonderful, wonderful work across the world.
Chuck Grassley is 87, Brian.
But come
Go
on.
home.
But as
Listen, man, 3 terms. 3 terms.
As a United
That's 18
States,
years.
89.
89.
Isn't there anything?
And understand.
Is there anything in the world you'd rather be doing than ducking and
And
dodging bullets in the
understand.
Capitol when it gets? I mean,
No, man. But see, here's the thing, though. Like, she's going to be
really
like,
could. Hold on,
paternal shit. Like,
Tubbs, hold on. She really could have got fucked up today.
Yeah.
It's an 89-year-old
she
woman
could have.
that could have got fucked up today, man. That's what I'm
Because you wasn't moving quick
But what
enough.
I'm saying is that's somebody's grandma. You know how hot I would have been if somebody stormed the Capitol and Granny was up there and somebody ran up
first of all,
First off, Granny's not going to be there.
Listen, chitty
First
chitty
of all, that
bang,
could be
chitty
somebody's
chitty bang bang.
great-grandmother.
I'm going right up there. Say something else, you hear? Say one more thing about Lisa, you hear?
What I'm saying is that we all know Dorothy's not going up there. First and foremost.
but here's the thing. Like, 89. I mean, listen, respect to get to 89. I don't want to shit on it. But at 89, like,
Say it again, man.
how?
89.
Yeah, that's an 8 followed by a 9. You're gonna be 90. You'll be a 90-year-old senator? Like, seriously? A 90-year-old senator. Supreme Court judges aren't 90. They bounce.
Or they die.
Or they die.
Not to be crass about it, but come on, man. Like,
But I mean, the thing is that, I mean, I do believe that there should be an age limit, if not a term limit, on senators and
3 terms.
dare I say representatives. However, it's a little bit harder since those are only 2 years. But at least from the Senate side, there should be a term limit. And the only problem with that, and I had to explain this to our mother just the other day, is that it would take an amendment to make that kind of a change.
And
But
they're not
the
gonna do that.
amendment, right, but the amendment would require all 50 state legislatures to agree to it. And I don't know about y'all.
Nah, listen.
Yeah, it's like if you look at the last amendment that was passed, it was like 96.
All right, listen. We have.
And even then it was about their pay. So it's not going to happen
All right,
as much as
so
I would love for it.
Clearly, we have digressed. So it's probably time that we. wrap
No,
this
we
up.
have not, because she's still old as fuck and she shouldn't have been out there in the first damn place.
Well, then there's that. So on that note, again, thank you for
Protect y'all grandmothers.
protect your goddamn neck. Thank you guys for jumping.
I better not hear there's somebody else's grandmother out there.
This emergency episode of the TTE podcast. I want to say this is not how I wanted to start off the year. I wanted to do something fun, and we got a pod coming that I think is going to be fun. So sit tight for that, because I'm really excited about that one. That's how I wanted to start off the year before getting into anything heavy. But
Hey, just so you know, honestly, I feel like right now we're only, 6 days into 2021. I personally feel like 2020 is just showing 2021 around the building. And hopefully, hopefully they're not.
I'm going to put it back on you. This is the one time in my life I want R. Kelly to do a remix, because I feel like this is just the 2020 remix. This isn't 2020. This is
I mean, honestly,
the remix edition.
I text you guys that this is, listen,
Hot
man,
and
in
fresh
the
out the
first 6
kitchen.
days of, listen, and this is in the first 6 days of this year, you've gotten this, this shit at the Capitol. Dr. Dre had a brain aneurysm. Kim and
From
Kanye got
stress.
divorced. Like,
Yep.
listen, man, like,
Because Kanye slept with
Oh,
a
you're not
dude.
here.
Kanye
Yeah,
slept
Kanye
with
slept with a man.
That's the
I was gonna say you
What?
don't leave that out.
I
Please
had to-
don't leave that
I know
out.
that.
I had to
I
look
know
up.
that.
I had to
I
look
know
up.
that.
I had to like, who the fuck is Jeffree Star? I'd never heard of him. I was like, yo.
No, as soon as I saw the name, I was like,
say it ain't true, man. Say it ain't true.
I saw
I
as
had
soon-
no idea. I had not heard.
And
that.
listen,
That
No, as
news
soon-
to me.
I sent you the tweet.
I'm not saying. Listen, if that's what Kanye's into, then so be it. But my thing is, you got a wife and kids at home, bro, and you just gonna blow up like. That's
look.
just behavior I can't identify with. Is all I'm saying. That's like
all I know
that's some
is
shit I can't identify with. That's all I'm saying. I'm not hating. I'm just saying.
I know
Brian, what you
is-
say? I'm not hating. It just ain't for me. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
You know what? Listen, you know what? That's just not for me.
look, at this point, I will tell you this. I rolled over this morning and saw that Jeffree Star was trending, and I was like, isn't that one dude
I don't
that
even
like
who
saw
is
the
that
makeup
guy?
and shit?
I never heard of him.
He's a YouTube guy that like does makeup and shit. And he's always in some kind of beef with some other YouTube star. But the important thing here is that he dresses as a woman. Nothing against that. But
Okay.
he does look like a woman at times. So
All
when I saw it trending, I was like, why is that trending? And then I read it, I was like, whoa,
Yeah, didn't see
That
that. I mean, that was
that was not expected.
Yeah, that was definitely 105 coming across the plate. I did not see that coming at all.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So Tubbs, I think to your point, in the first 6 days, at this point, the only good thing that's happened in the first 6 days is that Ohio State beat the shit out of Clemson. That's the only good thing that's happened in the last 6 days.
Hey, and a wide receiver got the Heisman.
Yeah. If you're into that.
And the Steelers going to the Super Bowl.
Whoa, slow your roll.
Look, I love my team too, but until we get this offensive line taken care of, I can't make that statement.
Listen,
I
I'm
love
just trying
it.
to speak it into existence.
Look, I'm all for the Steel City 7. I really am. We got to fix that offense, man.
Yeah, I wish. Yeah, well, best of luck to you. I'm at home watching the whole thing anyway, so I'm not in a position to talk. But I don't know about that. This feels like a Mahomes Rodgers Super Bowl for all the money in the world to me. But we'll see how it goes. So with that, I want to thank you guys for jumping on. I know this was sort of short notice, but there's some shit I just had to get off my chest. I was hot. I'm not as hot anymore. But shit just didn't have to happen today. America, get your fucking shit together.
It didn't, but Lincoln talked about our better angels, right? So, hopefully we can appeal to our better angels to not have this type of nonsense happen, but it's going to take a lot. It's going to take a heavy lift on a lot of parts. So we'll see.
I'm pretty sure that my guardian angel is Granny, and she's never at her desk. So good luck, America.
Yeah.
Well, not everybody can have your grandmother as your.
That's right, because we don't share.
We all
her.
know.
We don't share her.
That's right.
Only certain.
That's
people.
right. She up there having all kinds of fun.
Only certain people, and you know who you are. So we share her with her. We share her with them, and that's it. All right, now. All right, guys, I'm gonna.